is always saying that railways are slow and out of date, but he is friends with all of the engines. But sometimes he just can't help himself. It was a windy time on the island of Sodor. The wind had caused some trouble, so Harold had to look out for any havoc that the wind might have caused. He searched high and low. He was just checking over the special line that connects the railway when he saw Thomas idling at the station waiting for the passengers to board his train. While he waited, he was chatting with Bertie the bus. I always say railways are slow, but I didn't imagine it to be this slow. Have your passengers even left Bertie yet? Of course, yes, said the helicopter, Bertie replied crossly. And, added Thomas, we're not as slow as you may think. A railway is always fast and busy. Sometimes we may be slow, but that is for making sure everything goes smoothly. At least whenever I'm out is for a reason, not just for visiting station masters' houses. Thomas hated being reminded of the time when he tried to move himself, and was cheeky enough with pride to remark quickly, "You always say that, when in fact something always comes along to prove you wrong. Like when you first met Percy, he certainly beat you in a race because we don't have to spend time landing." Alright, why don't you try to prove me wrong and show me how busy you engines really are? Thomas smiled. He thought he knew he could do this with ease. Alright, I'll show you. Whenever you see me today, I will always be hard at work. Well then, I must be off. Unlike you, Thomas, I can't sit here and chat. I have to go off and continue. As Harold buzzed away, Thomas explained everything to his driver and fireman, who thought Thomas was right. But they were worried for their engine. Bertie was worried too. Thomas can sometimes try to prove himself as the bigger engine. Just be careful, Thomas, and pay attention. Don't get caught up in the situation. Yeah, he's right, Thomas, added the driver. Yeah, and listen to what we say, added the fireman. Finally, the guard's whistle blew, and Thomas set off, leaving Bertie very worried indeed. Thomas puffed along the line feeling very pleased. He was making good time. Silly Bertie, silly driver and fireman, and silly Harold. I'm just fine and very busy. Thomas couldn't wait till the next time he saw Harold. Annie and Clara were worried for Thomas. You really don't have to do this. You're still the #1 engine in our book. Thomas didn't hear them and puffed on. Meanwhile, at the station, Gordon was resting for his next train, which was due in some time. Henry pulled up alongside with his train of passengers.
Wake up, lazy bones, and get an engine to shut my coaches away from me.
Huh, do it yourself, you lazy engine. Plus, you would never see me shunting coaches or train, unlike poor James.
Oh yeah? Are you forgetting about the time when you had to shunt your train backwards?
Gordon had, and had now unfortunately remembered. The engine shunted the coaches into a station siding, and Gordon crossly went back to sleep.
Lazy excuse for a big engine.
Later, Thomas was dropping off some workmen at the plant when his driver called out, Thomas, we are almost out of water. We must get some more soon. Fine, we'll stop on our way to Skysville Station. But before Thomas could finish, he heard an unfortunately familiar whirring sound. Hello, dear chap. You said you would be hard at work, but here you are just laying around. Thomas wanted to leave, but he had to wait. Harold just flew away, and Thomas was crosser still. He'd completely forgotten about his water tank, and when he could go, he puffed quickly away. Thomas steamed through the countryside and finally arrived at Skysville Station. Thomas was pleased, but his driver was cross. You silly tank engine, now look what has happened. We are almost completely out of water. Thomas felt terrible, but then he smiled. Look, he exclaimed, there's a water tower right over there. Well, no use wasting water here. Let's get to that tower. But then there was trouble. Thomas's wheels went slower and slower until at last they stopped completely, just inches from the water tower. Oh, great. Just great. Now what are we going to do? We have to collect our passengers at Sodor Junction. That's not the worst part, exclaimed Thomas's fireman. Look where we stopped. To their horror, they had stopped just in front of the siding where the express coaches were. "Oh no, this is all my fault. I shouldn't have been worried about looking lazy in front of Harold." Thomas was upset, but he wasn't the only one. The shunting engine broke down, so Gordon had to collect the coaches himself.
Bother,
he huffed, and he puffed crossly away. Gordon raced quickly through the countryside. Thomas was waiting and still upset when he heard a deep-toned whistle and felt the track rumbling. Everyone was shocked. That must be Gordon. He must be coming for the coaches. "If he isn't warned in time, there could be a terrible accident," cried his driver. "I'll go as fast as I can," said the fireman. But it was too late. Gordon was getting louder and closer. All they could do was wait and hope. Gordon puffed into the station and was shocked to see Clarabelle.
"Whoa, get out of my way!"
cried Clarabelle and waited for the crash. Gordon's driver braked hard, and Gordon stopped just in front of Clarabelle. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. All except Gordon, who was very cross.
"What are you doing here, little Thomas? You're gonna make me very late with my express."
Very embarrassed, Thomas told Gordon the entire story.
"Pop, fancy a little engine like you, Thomas, running out of water."
"But now I will be late with my train at Solar Junction Station, even if I stop to get water." "Well," suggested Gordon's driver, "we could push your train to the station and then give you some of our water there." Gordon was furious.
"No, I will not shunt Thomas and his train. It is not right for a big engine like me."
"Do you want Sir Topham Hatt to find out you caused 2 trains to be late, all so you can keep your pride up, Thomas?" Gordon knew he didn't want to get Sir Topham Hatt cross, so he agreed, and arrangements were made. Then Gordon coupled up to the train and crossly shunted the train all the way to the station. And they arrived on time, and who should be there but Henry, who laughed.
"I thought you said you don't shunt coaches, let alone the whole train." "Ho, ho, ho, ho,"
chortled Henry. Gordon just pretended he didn't hear, while his driver and fireman got a hose and filled Thomas's tanks with enough water to continue his journey. "Thank you, Gordon, and make sure you don't forget to shunt yourself away," chuckled Thomas.
"And you make sure you don't listen to helicopters and have a nice long drink,"
retorted Gordon. Thomas just laughed and was just about to set off when he saw Harold the helicopter, who looked upset. "Well, well, well, if it isn't Busy Harold. I thought you helicopters were all hard at work. What are you doing here just laying around?"
"The wind is too strong. I had to make an emergency landing," sighed Harold.
"Well, engines can work in hard wind. I don't know about you, but I got work to do. I can't stay here all day." Thomas smiled, feeling very sure that he had finally proven his point. And to add to that, Thomas, Gordon, and Harold knew that this was a day that they wouldn't soon forget.